Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. To mark World Hunger Day today, the Union Against Hunger has made a petition to bring food prices down urgently. The union says 25% of South Africans now go hungry and a fifth of South African children don't live with their parents. And to discuss this a bit more further, we are now joined by Mark Heywood from the Union Against Hunger's Secretariat and founder of the Justice and Activism Hub. And he joins us now via our video link. Mark, thank you so much for your time this evening here in SABC News. Let's start off here. I mean, you are running a campaign and this petition calling for food prices to go down. And of course, this is to avert a hunger crisis. Tell us more.
Well, about 20 million people in South Africa face hunger. That's almost 1/3 of our population. When it comes to children, it's actually even more serious. By the age of 5, 29% of children have experienced malnutrition and are stunted as a result of not having sufficient food. And we know that the causes of the hunger are complex, and that there are several causes of hunger and lack of access to food. But one of the biggest causes is food prices and profiteering of essential foodstuffs. And we believe not just because we say so, but on the basis of research that has been done by universities, that if you could make food more affordable to poor people, that it would be possible to cut hunger and to cut malnutrition. So on World Hunger Day, we launched a petition addressed to the CEO of Shoprite, Peter Engelbrecht, asking him to reduce prices on essential foodstuffs, not on every foodstuff, but on foodstuffs which are essential, for example, for children's development in the early phases of their life. And we are trying to get 100,000 signatures on that petition. And really, we're appealing to Shoprite and to other companies to please drop their prices. Those companies make huge amounts of money. Shoprite itself makes profits of 20 million rand a day. So there's no question that they can afford to help us address this national crisis.
And why target Shoprite? I know you've mentioned that you will be taking this petition to other retailers, but why specifically Shoprite in that regard?
Well, specifically Shoprite because it's a leader in the retail sector. It's actually the biggest company. It sells the largest volumes of foodstuffs. It particularly reaches poor people through subsidiaries such as Boxer, and they're making huge amounts of profits. So we thought, well, let's appeal to them, let's focus on them. But we're also hoping that Pick n Pay and others will hear this plea, because you must remember that in our country, everyone has a right to sufficient food. That's a constitutional right. Every child has a right to basic nutrition. And so companies that set high food prices are actually violating the realization of those rights. And if Shoprite and other companies won't voluntarily reduce their prices because it's the right thing to do, then we say that government should regulate not just quality of food, but affordability of food to make sure that people in this country do not go hungry. Hunger is a human rights violation. It's not something that we should subject people to, because our country produces a surplus of food.
And Mark, earlier on, you touched on the issues around stunted growth in children. Maybe just give us a bit of more insight when it comes to, the implications or the ramifications of having no access to food and what that means for the future of children.
Well, the implications are terrible. Malnutrition, stunting by the age of 5 means that a child is physically and cognitively below the average. It is underdeveloped because their bodies have not had sufficient nutrition to develop in that critical phase of life. And they carry that lack of development throughout life. Smaller people, children who grow up less cognitively able, do less well in exams. When they get to exams, do less well in the economy. So, the hunger that we are witnessing in this current generation of children and young people will be something that they live with throughout their lives. and will add to the profound inequalities that already exist in our country. You know, if I was a parent of an under 5-year-old and I understood the cost of my child not having the right foods, not being able to afford the right foods, then I would be out on the street demonstrating and insisting that those rights that exist in the Constitution are realized immediately, so that hunger is not something that rests in my family.
What role can society also play to try and address some of these major concerns, particularly when it comes to hunger?
Well, what we're trying to do as the Union Against Hunger is to rally all of society against hunger. You know, the Union is bringing together academics, it's bringing churches, trade unions, ordinary people. And we're trying to say, a little bit like we did with the HIV epidemic 20 years ago, let's make this a political priority for government and for the whole of society. There are many interventions that can be undertaken. You know, at a personal level, people can support local food kitchens in their areas. They can help local homeless people with access to foodstuffs. At a legislative level, we are encouraging government to pass legislation to prohibit food waste, again, by retail companies. We waste 20 million tons of food a year. That is 1/3 of all food that is produced goes to waste. So, you know, the food system is failing in multiple respects. And if we're just all a little bit more conscious about it and about what can be done about it, then in some ways this would be a quick win for South Africa, and a win that would make people feel seen and valued and would enhance dignity for millions of people, because hunger is a horrible thing.
All right, Mark, thank you so much for your time. That's Mark Heywood. He is the Secretariat of Union Against Hunger, also the founder of Justice and Activism Hub.